Congress has no authority to infringe on that right for law-abiding citizens. And I yield back to the gentleman from Pennsylvania.
Well, my good friend from Virginia is absolutely right, and that's what that's our duty here. People think that the federal government maybe is supposed to provide so many things. I'm sure that every one of us have different visitors that come in and ask us for what the federal government can provide for them. What this government was set up by for our founders, and unfortunately I think that many of our citizens don't know it, is to provide us with the rights that have been given to us by God and to defend them. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. And right down the hall, it's not about making sure that we maintain our rights to defend ourselves, to maintain the rights that everybody in that room swore an oath in the Constitution to uphold and defend it. They're actually looking to strip the very people that are law-abiding, the very people that would follow the law, would purchase the weapon legally, would follow the paperwork, file the paperwork, and do everything that is required in their states. Those are the people that they wish to disarm. They're not in there talking about stopping criminals. They're not talking about stopping criminals. They're talking about stopping law-abiding citizens who are trying to defend themselves when somebody breaks into their home at night or their store or prevails upon them on the street when they're out with their children, or heaven forbid, our citizens deign to travel to one of these cities anymore. I mean, I represent a company in my district called Starbucks. Their CEO is closing stores all across the Midwest, or the northwest of our country, because of safety. People want to go to Starbucks. They can't, because it's not going to be there anymore. Not because of sales, but because of safety. If that's not a sign of a sickness, and the CEO of Starbucks, I don't know that he thinks that the answer is an assault weapon ban. Maybe he does. But I haven't heard of the Starbucks being held up by an assault weapon. Every single week, every single weekend, people are killed in major cities, horrific violence, just perpetrated, whether it's with a knife or whether it's with a handgun, but it's the people that do it. These are inanimate objects. Great Britain banned handguns a long time ago and now considering banning knives because knives attacks are on the increase. Our country has a sickness and we're empathetic to it. We are sympathetic to it. But taking the tool away doesn't address the sickness. And unfortunately, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle are so focused on the firearm that they can't even see past the fact that they are disavowing their oath to the Constitution. I yield.
Thank you to the gentleman, Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania. The Constitution, the first 10 amendments of the Constitution were intended to protect the individual, the people from the government. The Constitution protects the individual, the minority, from the tyranny of the majority. There's a reason why we're not a democracy. We are a representative republic based on the rule of law, based on a Constitution that would ensure that we remain free, that would ensure that we protect the rights of the individual. And number one job of the federal government that we have gotten so far away from here in this body is to keep us safe and secure, and part of that is to ensure that our rights are safe and secure, and that includes the right to defend ourselves. Yeah. And with that, go ahead, Mr.
The right to defend ourselves. Look, we all, Mr. Good and I, our colleagues on this side of the aisle, we haven't voted to defund the police. We support law enforcement, but here's what we know. Even though we support fully law enforcement, here's what we know. When someone breaks into your home and you pick up your phone, it's going to take a certain amount of time unless law enforcement's sitting out in your driveway. And you're going to have to do something about it at that moment. And what our colleagues on the other side of the aisle right now are telling us is, no, you're not going to have any opportunity. You're not going to have any ability to do anything about it. You can use harsh language. I suppose you can throw the lamp that's on your bedstand in self-defense, but that doesn't stop the assailant's bullets that's coming into your home for who knows what reason. Mr. Speaker, we deserve, because we have earned the right to defend ourselves. We live in America. We have a Constitution that we live under. It outlines